Okay, so another interpretation of Talyon's teaching, wise men, be careful with your words, is the emphasis, be careful with your words. In other words, the words which the rabbis themselves have introduced, rabbinic legislation. Be as careful with rabbinic law or laws of rabbinic origin as you are with laws of direct biblical origin. Because one tends by and large to deal with rabbinic law psychologically in a different way. So things such as the observance of the second day of a festival, second day of Yom Tov, is considered with lower regard than we do the first day, because we argue the first day is biblical, the second day is rabbinic, and rabbinic is not as important. And so therefore, Avtalion says, hang on a second, you have to be very careful over here, because both biblical and rabbinic law have to be observed with equal punctiliousness, because both are integral parts of the Torah structure, and sometimes it's impossible to adhere to biblical law without observing rabbinic law, which is a safeguard in many instances, and also which deeply, deeply understands human nature. There's a story which is told in the Talmud about Rabbi Ishmael ben Elisha. So the Mishnah tells us that there's a rule in relation to Shabbat. In those days, people would use oil lamps. Reading by the light of the Shabbat lamp is prohibited. It's given without a reason. But the Talmud, the Gemara, then goes on to give a reason. It says the reason is because you might become engrossed in your studies and therefore tempted to move the lamp or to turn up the wick to make the flame high, etc., so that you can read better. And Rabbi Ishmael ben Elisha, when he learned the reason, said, "Oh no, that won't apply to me. I'm going to be very careful. If I'm studying on Shabbat, there's no way that I'm going to my hand's going to reach out and inadvertently move the lamp or increase the flame." At any rate, he was studying and became hugely engrossed in his studies. And guess what happened? He reached out, etc., and moved the lamp. And when he realized what he had done, he cried out, "Oh, how great were the words of the sages when they declared reading by the light of the Sabbath lamp is prohibited." And what he meant is, how great were their words because they gave no reason. The problem with reasons is that the moment you hear a reason, you begin to rationalize and say, "Oh, well, that reason doesn't apply to me." If it's given without a reason, you just don't do it. So many of our laws are given without a reason. Many of the rabbinic institutions were given without a reason for that because it's one of the ways of making sure that people will obey them. Reasons sometimes get in the way. Anyway, that's it for today in the shul, and we shall turn now to the onliners.